this year I have listened to some amazing audiobooks and I have fallen in love with them. And this is coming from someone who did not used to like audiobooks. But honestly, now give me an audiobook. Okay, give me an audiobook so I can either listen or do an immersive read. And I'm going to give y'all some audiobook recommendations, but of course, make it black. Hey y'all, I'm Nala and this is Nala's Reading Room where we talk books, vinyls, and everything in between. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, hey friends, so glad to have you back. And today we're talking all things audiobooks, okay? And we're gonna first start off with my 4 favorite Black audiobook narrators, okay? So I feel like this list would be a surprise to no one who loves them some audiobooks by Black authors, okay? So first we have the one and the only Miss Wesley Siobhan. Like, I feel like she's everyone's favorite narrator. And honestly, with Wesley, I can just listen to a book that is narrated just by her. Like, I do not need her and a male narrator. Just give me Miss Wesley Siobhan and I'm cool with that, okay? Because if I'm being honest, sometimes Wesley's male voice is better than a male narrator's voice. Like, and if you listen to Wesley narrate a book, you know what I'm talking about. Like, her male voice is A1. It's honestly amazing. Love me, Miss Wesley Siobhan. I also love Treat Taylor. She is also amazing. Like, I've read actually a lot of books with Treat Taylor as the narrator, and she's amazing. She is really great. And then, of course, Mr. Winston James. Like, who doesn't love Winston James? And then lastly, Mr. Jacoby Diem. Like I said, I feel like these 4 are everyone's favorite narrators if you listen to audiobooks by Black authors. Like, those 4 to me are amazing. And I think it gets to the point too where once you listen to an audiobook, you associate these narrators with the characters that they played in these audiobooks. It's like, to me, Winston James is literally Tony Wacko. Like, he's Tony Wacko. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's just what it is. Like, Winston James is Diamond, Diesel, and Declan. Like, it's just like, those are just who they are. Like, after you listen to them narrate the hell out of a character, you just associate the narrator with the character. And I love that. Okay, so those are 4 of my favorite Black narrators. And now I'm going to get into my audiobook recommendation. So I kind of separated them into categories. So, we have a little bit of everything on this list, okay? So first we are going to start with some mess, okay? So now if you like you some mess, either in real life, in a book, both, I think you would enjoy these audiobook recommendations, okay? So first I have Dominion. Now, me personally, I'm going to eat up a book that involves church mess. Anything with church mess, I'm going to eat up, okay? And I ate up Dominion. Dominion was so good. I did Dominion as an immersive read. Amazing. I would do it again 1,000%, but I honestly could have just did the audiobook by itself. That's how great Dominion is. So Dominion is the story of a first family in, I think it was Mississippi, and the story is told from the lens of the first lady and the girlfriend of the first family's youngest son, Emmanuel, who's also known as Wonder Boy. The things that Emmanuel and his father were doing in Dominion were insane. They were insane. I'm just going to say insane. And I was a little confused at first when I started reading, but then as you got into the story, you started unraveling what they were doing. You were like, oh, so y'all some hypocrites, okay? But again, love me some church mess. And I'm going to play like a little bit of it so y'all can see, because Dominion was great because in the audiobook, they incorporated like church music and like sounds that you associate with church. So that's what made it so good, because you felt like you were like in church. The publisher of this. So let me go back so y'all can like hear what I'm talking about. Can y'all hear that? Like, and you got this throughout the book.
I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save
Like,
plenty.
do you hear this?
From the minister's desk, Saber J. Winfrey, June 4th.
Okay. And that was throughout the book. Like, chapters would open up like that, and then you would have the voice of the pastor, like basically reading his notes for his sermon that he was given that day with the church music in the background. Like, top tier audiobook production. Loved Dominion. Okay. Some more church mess. The Secret Life of Church Ladies. Now, this one was really good. The Secret Life of Church Ladies is a collection of short stories. And I'm not usually someone who likes short stories, but I love these ones. These ones were so good. And it's told from different POVs of women that are either in the church or associated in some type of way with the church. And it's kind of a reckoning in a sense. And like, these women kind of have to basically determine if they're going to let the ways of the church define them, who they are in their life. And it was a great read. I think everyone needs to read The Secret Life of Church Ladies. It is so good. And this author has another book coming out, I think next month, called I think it's The Confessions of First Lady Freeman. I'm super excited to get into that because if it's anything like The Secret Life of Church Ladies, I need to read it. Like I said, I'm going to eat up anything with church mess. Love me some church mess in a book. Okay, the next messy book audiobook recommendation I have is 1201. What do you do when your boyfriend cheats on you with his play cousin? Well, you go to a New Year's Eve sex party with his twin brother, have sex, and fall in love. Okay, so that's basically what happened in 1201. Okay? If you know, you know. Okay? Definitely get into 1201. That was also great narration. I think that was narrated by Emmanuel Ingram. That was the male narrator. Chapter 16? Yeah. Go listen to 1201, y'all, okay? Next messy book, audiobook recommendation. Another College Love Story by Miss Siobhan Latrice. Now, Siobhan is one for mess. You're always going to find some mess in a book by Siobhan Latrice. But the mess in this one was messing. Like, it was messing. Professors were doing everything but teaching on a college campus. Okay, love triangle, drugs being sold on the campus. It was just so much going on, but it was good. It was good, a good messy time. And the audiobook was great. So definitely look into Another College Love Story. Then the next one is Need You by Me. Another messy church recommendation, okay? This is about Jamie, who is the daughter of a preacher, and her father sent her to live with one of the deacons in the church. And let's just say this book follows the development of Jamie and the deacon's relationship. But there's more to it than this man just being a deacon. And when I say deacon, he is not like an active deacon in the church. He kind of just had to be a deacon. Like, if you read it and listen to the audiobook, you'll understand. But it was also a great narration. And it's messy too. So get into that one, okay? Now, those were all of the messy audiobook recommendations. So now we're going to get into romantic suspense. So, of course, I had to have CCJ on this list in some form or fashion. Anonymous Acts. Anonymous Acts was the first romantic suspense, or one of the first romantic suspenses that I listened to. That kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Like, I was really trying to figure out what was going on and who was doing it. And of course, Miss Wesley Siobhan narrated it. Amazing, amazing narration. I think it is a great book to start CCJ's catalog. If you're interested, in starting her catalog, definitely look into Anonymous Acts. But that was also a great narration because, like I said, it just kept you on your toes. Okay. The other romantic suspense that I listened to was Uncovering Love. That one was good too. That one also kept me on my toes. That one was about, I think her name was Gianna. She had lost her parents in a very horrific act. And the story was basically her unraveling and finding out who actually killed her parents. Because she, kind of was told this story of what happened. And she was like, that is not what happened. So she's basically falls in love with the cold case detective that comes to like take over the her parents' case, and she ends up falling in love with him and then unraveling like who actually killed her parents. Great story. Definitely get into it. Okay, those were the romantic suspense recommendations. And I just lost my list, y'all. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so now we're going to jump into some contemporary romance audiobook recommendations. So again, I had to add CCJ to this list. Death Not a Thing. Amazing. And this was actually the first duet narration I listened to. So a duet narration is when the female narrator reads the female parts in the novel and the male reads the male parts in the novel. So you know how typically if you listen to an audiobook, say for instance the female, it's the female's POV, it's her chapter. Typically the female narrator would just read all of the parts in that chapter, and like when a male is speaking, they'll put on their male voice. But in a duet narration, the female is reading her lines and the male narrator is reading his lines. So like it's kind of like a back and forth within that chapter. And oh my god, I love a duet narration. And like I wish all audiobooks were duet narrations, but they can't be because duet is just so expensive. But that was the first duet narration. And oh my god, it was so amazing. If you have not listened to a duet audiobook narration, my suggestion is try Death Not a Thing by CCJ. Not only was the duet narration good, it was also funny. I think Death Not a Thing can also be considered a rom-com as well because it was funny. The banter between the FMC and the MMC was amazing. And just hearing it play out like in your ears was great. Okay. Next contemporary romance, Hostile Takeover. This was narrated by Winston James and Wesley Siobhan. Great read, great audiobook. Anything I feel like narrated by Wesley and Winston together, it's amazing. So definitely get into Hostile Takeover. That is like a arranged marriage situation. But even though it was arranged, Orion was definitely like, that is my wife. From the beginning, that's my wife, and I love that. Okay? And then another contemporary romance is Prior Affair. Prior Affair was also a duet narration. And that was Wesley Siobhan and Emmanuel Ingram, if I'm remembering correctly. That was great. And like I said, I love a duet narration, so that was one reason why I loved it. But I also loved the storyline of Prior Affair. I think I talked about it on one of my previous videos and how it made me want to like actually do some research into my family history. That's how amazing the book and the storyline was. Okay, the next contemporary romance audiobook recommendation is Under the Influence. So Under the Influence, this was so good. So this was actually my first read by Kimberly Brown. It was a great audiobook. So it's basically a enemies to lovers. So the FMC and the MMC knew each other in high school. Something happened and the FMC basically ended up hating the MMC for majority of her life. They end up meeting back up later in life. He is a kind of I think he was a football player with like a really bad reputation. And I think she was a PR/communications person. And his team, the MMC's team, ends up hiring the FMC's PR team to kind of help him maneuver and kind of get his reputation back on the right track. And after all these years, they end up having to basically be together. So it's basically enemies to lovers and kind of like forced proximity a little bit. And just seeing how they fall in love and like why what happened in high school happened, and them like kind of uncovering all of that. It was a really great read, a great listen. Check it out. And then At the End of It All by Ray Lease. Just take me back to Planet Ace. Like, I need to go back immediately. So At the End of It All was narrated by Wesley Siobhan and Jacoby Diem. I'm actually sad that I didn't listen to the audiobook for the entire time. So I actually started reading At the End of It All on my Kindle, and then I ended up switching to the audiobook. I really wish I listened to the audiobook from the beginning because it was just so good. Jacoby Diem played Ace. He narrated Ace so well. Like, you felt the emotions of Ace, of like Ace just being kind of just in this purgatory of like not knowing where he was going essentially, and like kind of just existing but not really living. Like, you felt that through Jacoby Diem's narration, and it was amazing. Okay, we are on to my last recommendation, y'all. So the last one is kind of like, I would say like women's fiction in a sense, a kind of a coming of age story. So this is actually also probably, it is considered a classic. It's Their Eyes Are Watching God. So this is actually my favorite book by Zora Neale Hurston. I first read it, I think it was my junior year of high school, and I immediately fell in love. And I revisited it earlier this year, and I listened to the audiobook. Please, if you are reading Their Eyes Are Watching God, please listen to the audiobook. It is narrated by Ruby Dee. She did an amazing job. And if you read Their Eyes Are Watching God, then you know how it was written, and it was really written in a Southern dialect. And hearing Ruby Dee narrate that dialect, oh my God, it just made the story 10 times better. Just like hearing the inflection of the voice, the accent, the dialect, and just the emotion behind it all, you really felt like you were in the Everglades, like you were in that little town in Florida. And I loved it so much. I love Their Eyes Are Watching God. So being able to listen to that audiobook really, it just made me love the book even more. So if you really want to get into Their Eyes Are Watching God, if you haven't read it, I would suggest the audiobook. Great experience. You won't be disappointed. And then some honorable mentions is the Danger series. That is narrated, I think, by Winston James. Is it Tree Taylor? It might be Tree Taylor. It might have been Tree Taylor who was the female narrator. She might have been. Yeah, so that's how I actually read the Danger series, was via audiobook. Definitely suggest you do it, especially Intrigued by Danger, the third book. Jacqueline and Elle, amazing. Okay, so that is a honorable mention. What's another honorable mention audiobook? Let me take a look, because y'all been listening to audiobooks left and right. Oh, another honorable mention, one I just finished, Judge Stone. Judge Stone was narrated by Viola Davis. Yes, Viola narrated the hell out of that book. So that is definitely an honorable mention. That was also a great just book in general. That was really good. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, I think those are all of the audiobooks I have on my recommendation list. If you've listened to some great audiobooks by Black authors, put them down below. Put them down in the comments below, because I could always use me a good audiobook recommendation. But yeah, y'all, that's all I got for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.